Hello?
Yeah. Okay, this one's good.
Hello, hello.
Perfect.
Can you hear me now? Good.
Okay, this is the one you want to use.
Yes.
Num-
I understand that, but I really do want to start out high. We were late last night. Everything got so slow. because it will give you a bit of feedback. I was not able to hear last night. I tried to listen in on
You couldn't hear a thing?
you. I couldn't hear you at all. I heard you when you took your mic, hand mic, and you weren't there. I heard Stan microphone.
See that? There was a problem with our microphone here. Yeah, more too. A lot of people couldn't hear. They couldn't hear us last. Yeah, it's not. It's better today.
So I'm going to use microphone number 3, so you can hear me.
You have as many microphones as you can hear.
This microphone
They all got fresh batteries.
So this is better. It's better today. Listen how much louder it is. It's better.
yes. So I'm going to use this
For
one,
some reason, it was not
the number 3.
fixed. It was
I
not
will
set
use
last.
number 3.
But see, that's what this is supposed to work. I have it hooked up, and it wasn't. We're always trying, we're always trying to. It's called Tikkun Olam, improving our life. Hi, Joel.
Morning, Shabbat Shalom, Rabbi.
Shabbat Shalom. I guess people couldn't hear us very well last night. Yeah, everybody was saying they couldn't hear me. It's a shame. I wonder why. This is supposed to work, and I drift from it. Don't know why. Let's see. Hello. Hello. Now it's working. Last night was not working well. I don't know why. Yeah. Listen, you are the expert. I'm just a laborer.
Mongo,
Come on.
only pawn.
You sound like Marshall.
Mongo, only pawn in Game of Life.
How are you?
I'm blessed.
Are you having good reports?
From,
Medical.
they could be a lot better.
Refuah Shlema kind of thing,
We're working on it, but, I've lost a lot of weight. I've lost about 15 pounds.
Yeah, you have.
So,
Well, that part's good if it doesn't get too bad,
fast.
too
Way
fast.
It's too fast.
It really is that right?
Yeah, but I think it's really mostly for the Ozempic that I'm taking. And that's
Medication.
for the diabetes. You've seen it on TV.
A little bit. I don't pay much attention, but yeah, I'm sure you do.
Yes.
All right.
Anyway.
All right. Well,
Did you talk to that lady that was the rabbi? She said, "Oh, I'm a rabbi."
yeah, and I didn't see her really.
I said.
Did you talk
talked
to
with
her?
She's with the Aleph Renewal, the Naropa, Zalman, Schachter, Shalom.
Oh, that stuff.
Those guys. So she's very sweet, very nice. She knows Chazan Austerklein very, very well. She
Because he's
records-
involved in that stuff.
I see. I didn't even know that. I like
Yes,
that.
yes, yes,
That's
yes.
good. But anyway,
Shlomo Carlbach is that whole.
they have a thing.
Yeah.
So she's translated stuff for him. So she calls it Matthias, not Mac. She calls it Matthias. Yeah.
Very interesting. I learn something all the time. All right, we're ready to begin. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you for that. Dear Isaac, how are you? How are you feeling?
Our friend is still very sick.
Of course, okay. You're the Shimon ben Rivka Moshe. Yeah, you got it. You got it.
Physician handwriting.
I can't read my own writing. This is the real challenge.
30 minutes to get
More, your handwriting's good. I can't read my own writing sometimes, which is quite a challenge. Okay, let's begin, everyone.
We turn to page 147. Let's begin our Shacharit Tefillah for Shabbat. Shochenat.
Shochenat maram v'kadosh shemo.
Shochenat marom v'kadosh shemo. V'fi yesharim titalal v'rei tzadikim titbarach v'shul chasidim.
V'fi yesharim tishalal uvdivrei tzadikim tisbarach uvilshon chasidim tisromam uv'kerev kedoshim tiskadash uv'makalos ribavos amcha beis Yisrael.
שכן חובת כל יסורים לפניך, אדון אלוהינו ולאבותינו ובאמותינו, להודות להלל, לשבח, לפאר, לרומם, להדר,
להודות, להלל, לשבח, לפאר, לרומם, להדר, לברך, לעלה ולקלס, על כל דברי שירס, שירס וששבחוס דוד, Ben Yishai Avdecha Mashiach
Ishtabach Shimcha Lad Malkeinu Elam Al-Kadol V'Lashbamayim V'Arasik V'Lavateinu V'Imoteinu Shir Shvara V'Zura Baruch
Brachas v'hodas me'ata ve'ad olam Baruch atah Adonai El melech gadol batishbachos El hahodos Adon haniflas Habocher B'shirei Zimra Melech El Chei Ha'olamim.
Please rise. Chatzi Kaddish.
Yiskadav Yiskadash Shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Yamad Divrach Yerusev Yamlich Malchusei B'chayechon of Yamechon of Chayedocho Beis Yisrael Bagalav Isman Kariv B'imru
Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevarach Elam Elamel Maya.
Yisbarach v'yishtabach v'yispar v'yisramam v'yisnaseh v'yishadar v'yis'aleh v'yishalal shemei dekudsha
Barichu
le'ela mikol birchasa v'shirasa tushbechasa v'nechemasa damiram v'yama v'imru
Amen.
Baruch es Adonai HaMevarach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevarach Le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevarach Le'olam va'ed.
Please be seated. Page 150. Baruch atah Adonai Elohim Melech Yisrael B'chol Oseh Shalom. V'rei hakol, hakol yoducha v'hakol yishabchucha. Ha'el ha'poter b'chol yom tatitachem yizrach v'tevlekiha. Ha'meir la'aretz v'lemerecha b'rachamim. Ein kerka v'zulatech v'yevlemelach, ein kerka v'lemelaseh.
Ein ke'erkech Adonai Eloheinu ba'olam hazeh, ve'ein zulas chamalkeinu l'chayei ha'olam haba. Efes biltecha go aleinu limos hamashiach, ve'ein dome lecha moshienu, lislias ha'mesim.
El Adon, page 151.
El Adon al kol hamasim, Baruch v'harach V'fi kol neshama, gadlo v'tuvo, malei olam. Das uzvuna, sobevim osa, el adon, al kol hamasim, baruch u'varach, v'fi kol neshama, hamizga'eh, al chayos hakodesh, menedar bechavod, al hamerkava, zechus umishor, lifnei chiso, chesed v'rachamim, lifnei chevodo, el adon, al kol hamasim, baruch u'varach, v'fi kol neshama, tovim me'oros shebara Eloheinu, Yitzharam b'da'as, b'bina u'v'haskel, koach u'gvura, nasan bahem, liyos moshlim, b'kerev tevel, el adon, al kol hamasim, baruch u'varach, v'fi kol neshama, meleim ziv, u'mefikim noga, na'ezivam, b'chol ha'olam, smechim b'tzeisam, v'sasim b'voam, osim be'ema, ritzon konam, el adon, al kol hamasim, baruch u'varach, v'fi kol neshama, pe'er v'chavod, nosnim lishma, tzahalav arina, Lezecher malchusa, kara la shemesh, vayizrachor, ra vehiskin, tzuras halvana, el adon, al kol hamasim, baruch u'varach, v'fi kol neshama, Shevach nosnim lo, kol tzeva maram, tiferes ugedula, serafim v'ofanim v'chayos hakodesh, el adon, al kol hamasim, baruch u'varach, b'fi kol neshama.
Page 152. 152. טוב דוד אדוני לפיך יפארו ויברכו לכל יצרם. ביום שבת קודש שמך אדוני נתגרז וגדול כן יפאר בשמים ממעלה.
Tisbarach Moshe no shevach maaseh yadecha v'al ma'orei or she'asisa yifa'aruch asela.
Tipara surin l'kavim 153. Mashmi v'yonalecha b'chol divrei Elohim chayim v'melech olam shalom ahuvim shalom
Kulam ahuvim, kulam berurim, kulam giborim, v'kulam osim be'ema uvyirah retzon konam, v'kulam poskim es bihem, b'kedushav tahara b'shira v'zimra, u'mevarachim, u'meshabachim, u'mefarim, Umaritzim, Umakdishim, Umamlichim.
את שם האל המלך הגדול, הגיבור ונורא הקדוש.
וכולם מקבלים עליהם עול מלכות שמיים זה מזה, ונושנים רשוס זה לזה, להקדיש לי על תרומה נחס רוח, בשפה ברורה ובנעימה קדושה, כולם כאחד עונים ואומרים ביראה.
קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, לא כל הארץ כבודו, באופנים וחיות הקודש, למצורפים למטה משבחים
באופנים
ואומרים,
וחיות הקודש, ברעש גדול מתנשאים לאומס שרפים, לאומסם משבחים ואומרים,
ברוך כבוד אדוני, במקום עולה הברך ממציצנו, על מלחמות צורי הצקד משביע ישוע בריא רפואות, המחדש בטובו בכל יום תמים מעשר בראשית, האמור ליוסר ולעשתו, אור
חדש על ציון תאיר, ונזכה כולנו מהרה לאורו. ברוך אתה אדוני, יוצר המאורות.
Amen. Page 154. 154. אבינו מלכנו ורבותינו, שבת גבורת צלם לחיים חיים. כן תכוננו צלמתנו, אבינו אב ורחמם ורחם וחמדנו. לשמוע ולבוא למני משמוע ולעשות. וידע ביתי ושפתך, ויחד לבבינו יבל, נראה שמך וללמוש לעולם ועד. כי בשם קודשך תבטח ולשבותך, והביאנו לשלום, מארבע כנפות הארץ, ותוליכנו כמילתנו כשבתת, ובאנו בחרת בכל.
וקרבתנו לשמך הגדול סלע באמס, להודות לכל יחדך באהבה. ברוך אתה אדוני, הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה.
אמן. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשפך ובקומך, וקשתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטפטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. It's 156, the rest of the Shema. נתתי מצרתכם, ועבדתם אלוהים אחרים והשתחוויתם להם. שמתם דברי אלה, וכביומר שבתם אותם לידיכם, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניכם, ולימדתם אותם. כתבתם משפתך וישרך למען ימיכם ודבריכם אשר אבותיכם לתת להם. כי מהשמיים על הארץ, ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל בני ישראל, ואמרת להם, ויעשו להם ציצית על כנפי בניהם לדורותם, ונתנו על ציצית הכנפת תכלת, והיה לכם לציצית, וניתם אותו וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני, ועשיתם אותם, ולא תטורו אחרי לבבכם, ואחרי עיניכם, אשר אתם זונים אחריהם, למען תזכרו, ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Adonai Elohim, Amen.
אמת ויציב לכם. אמת אלוהים אלוקינו צויים אשנו לדור ודור.
לדור ודור הוא קיים ושמו קיים, וכיסו נכון, ומלכוסו ואמונתו לעד קיימת.
Page 157. זרע ישראל אבטח על הראשונים והאחרים, עמק ואמונות יעבור, אמת שתו לנו גו עלינו, גו אל אבותינו ואמותינו, יוספנס ישועתנו.
פודנו מצילנו מעולם שמך, אין אלוהים זולתך.
עזרת אבותינו, אתה הוא מעולם. אשרי איש ישמע מצוותיך, ולכבוד לברבם, אמת הראשון ותאחרון. ממצרים גאלתנו עד אלוהינו מבית עבדים פדיתנו. ים סוף בקעת וצאתים קליפת. ברכו ועוד המלך חי וקיים, רב נישא גדול ורם משפיע גאים.
תהילת לעילם ברוך ומבורך, משה ומרים ובני ישראל לכנו שירה, בשמחה רבה ויאמרו כולם, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נהורה סילת עושה פלא.
שלח לשער שיבולי לשמת הים, יחד כולם.
שירה חדשה שיבחו גאולים לשמך על שפת הים, יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו,
Adonai yimloch yalam va'ed. Please rise. Nalakum.
צור ישראל, קומה בעזרת ישראל, ופתק עמך, יהודה וישראל. גאל עלינו, אדוני צבאות שמו, קדוש ישראל. ברוך אתה אדוני, God Yisrael.
Together we begin the Amidah for Shachrit Shabbat on page 159. We'll be together through the Kedusha, and then the remainder of the Amidah will be davened in silence through page 166.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avoteinu
Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah.
Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor V'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'Konei HaKol V'Zocher Chastei Avos U'Mevi Goel Livnei V'neihem Leman Shemo B'Yahava Melech Ozer Ufoked U'Moshiach U'Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Abraham Ufoked Sarah ata gibor le'olam Adonai.
Mechaye metim ata rav lehoshia. Mashiv haruach morid hagashem.
Mechakel chayim bechesed. Mechaye mesim barachamim rabim. Somech noflim v'rofei cholim umatir asurim. Umekayem amunasali shenei hafar. Micha mocha bal gevuros umidom melach. Melach memisum chayehum atzmiach Yeshua. V'ne'eman atol hachayos mesim. Baruch atah Adonai. Mechaye ha-mesim.
Yikadesh Shimcha b'shem Shema Kishimota b'shmei Morom Kakatu vayad neviecha v'karazeh el zev yamar.
Nekadesh es shimcha ba'olam Kishem shemakdishim also b'shmei Morom Kakatu vayad neviecha v'kara ze el zev yamar.
Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzavot, Elok ha'aretz kevodom, az v'korash gadol, adir v'chachamash mimko, minasim lo masorafim lo matamruch yomeh.
Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzavos, Melech haaretz kevodo. Oz b'kol ra'ash gadol, adir v'chazak mashmi'im kol, misnasim l'umas serafim le'umasam, Baruch Yameru.
Baruch kavod Adonai mimkom chamakenu tofia ki mechakim anachnu la matatim lo b'tzion לדור ודור לנצחים בעיני.
Baruch kavod Adonai mimkama mimkama mimkom chama kenu Sophia v'simlo cholenu ki mechakim anachnu lach masai timloch b'tzion v'kara b'yameinu li'olam va'ed tishkon Tiskadal v'siskadash v'sok Yerushalayim ircha l'dor v'dor u'lenetzach netzachim ve'einenu sirena sirena machusecha kadavar ha'amur b'shirei uzecha Sirena machusecha kadavar amor b'shirei uzecha al yedei David al yedei David al yedei David Meshiach tzidkecha al yedei David al yedei David al yedei David Meshiach tzidkecha Yimloch Adonai le'olam Elohai Tzion Ledor vador, hallelujah. Ledor vador, nagid God lecha. Ulenetzach netzachim kedushascha nakdish. V'shivchacha Eloheinu mipinu la yamush le'olam va'ed. Ki el melech gadol v'kadosh ata. Baruch atah Adonai.
Shema.
El hakadosh.
Amen. Yismach Moshe b'matnat chelko. Yom delefan har Sinai. Shabbat b'nei Yisrael. Shabbat. ולא נתתו אדוני אלוהינו לגויי הארצות. גם נכדו ישכרו עליהם לישראל ונתתו ביאהבה. גם נקדשי שכולם ישראל ונתתו. זכר למעשה בראשית. طاهر بنفسها بمن روح طارنا مقدش بتكز أنا بتشوفنا سيان براحين روح طارنا مقدش لو دل خانه سفر في هذا الوقت قبل Kaddish Shalom, page 167.
Yiskadav Yiskadash Shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Yamad Yivrach Yeriseh Yamlich Malchuseh B'chayechon V'yamechon V'chayedecho Beis Yisrael Bagalov Izman Kariv V'imra
Amen. Yeshmei Rabbah Mevara Alam Lo Mehamaya Yibara
Yisbarach Yishtabach Yisbar Yisroman Yisnaseh Yishador Yisalev Yishalal Shemei Dekudsha Brechu Le'ela Min Kol Berchasa B'shirasa Tush B'chasa V'nechamasa Dami Rambi Alma V'imru Amen Tizkabel Tzloshon Uva Ushon Dechol Yisrael Kadom Avahon Devishmaya V'imru Amen Yehi Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya V'chayim Aleinu V'kol Yisrael V'imru Amen Oseh Shalom B'imromav Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu V'kol Yisrael V'imru Amen
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Don. Josh is taking over here. Very good. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Welcome to our service. We have our wonderful Shabbat here and our dear guests, Dr. Moore and Theon from Carmel Yosef in Israel to be with us, and we're going to have some interesting commentary both on the Torah portion of Beshalach as well as the Haftarah. We read the Shirat Hayam and Shirat Devorah this morning, the beautiful, beautiful, very old Hebrew, difficult text that we'll be reciting. So Josh Melissa, we're going to continue now with the Seder Hosat HaTorah, the Torah service, which begins on page 168. Mea Shishim Ushmona.
Ein kamocha belohim Adonai ve'en kemaasecha Malchutecha malchut kol olamim Umemshaltecha bechol dor v'ador Adonai melech Adonai malach Adonai imloch ייתן. אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום. אהב רחמים, היטיבה ברצונך את ציון. תבנה חומות ירושלים, תבנה חומות ירושלים. כי לך לבד בטחנו, מלך אל רם ונישא, אדון עולמי. ויהי ביצוע אהרון ויאמר משה, קומה אדוני ויפוצו אויביך ויפוצו משנאיך מפניך. כי מציון תצא תורה, כי מציון תצא תורה, ודבר אדוני מירושלים. ברוך שנתן תורה תורה, ברוך שנתן תורה תורה, לעמו ישראל בקדושתו.
In the fullness of our freedom granted by God, we are here to fervently affirm that we choose to be servants of the Holy and Blessed One, before whom we bow in reverence and to whose Torah we again pledge our loyalty. We worship no mortals, we trust in no heavenly beings. Our faith and trust are in God alone, whose seal is truth, whose Torah and prophets are truth, and who calls us to live lives of goodness and truth. Open our hearts to your Torah, dear God, and help us to fulfill our noblest desires as a people. Bless us and your people Israel everywhere on this Shabbat, with all that is good, with life, and with shalom, peace.
Amen. Be'ana rachetz velishmei kadisha, kadisha yakira, ana emar tushbechan. Be'ana rachetz, be'ana rachetz, velishmei kadisha, kadisha yakira, ana emar tushbechan. Yeherava kadamach, detiftach libi peoraita, vetashlim mishalin delibi, veliba dechol amach Yisrael, letavu chayin velishlam. Amen. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
Gadlu Adonai iti, uneromema Shemo yachdav, Lecha Adonai hagedula, Vehagevura, Vehatiferet, Vehanetzach, Vehahod, Kicho bashamayim uvaretz, Kicho bashamayim uvaretz, Lecha Adonai hamamlacha, Ve'amin aseh lechol erosh, Romemu, Romemu, Adonai Eloheinu, Vehishtachavu, Vehishtachavu, Lehadom raglav kadoshu, Romemu, Romemu, Adonai Eloheinu, Vehishtachavu, Vehishtachavu, Lehar Kodsho, Ki Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu. Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Ha'olam, Ha'olam Omed. Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Ha'olam, Ha'olam Omed. Al HaTorah ve'al Avodah ve'al Gemilut Chasadim. Al HaTorah ve'al Avodah ve'al Gemilut Chasadim.
No, that's fine. You were done. Dismissed. Give me the yawn. Give me the yawn.
Sorry I'm a little bit late. I get medical reports as I'm going down the aisle here. I hope everybody heals. Let me put on my... Okay, let me introduce the Torah reading here. The portion is Beshalach. Let me get my Humash. We'll get this. Pretty close. I always try to see if I can get the right page without looking. On page 399, the portion Beshalach, this great portion of Yetziat Mitzrayim, of the Exodus from Egypt, and the celebration that we'll be hearing, the Shirat Hayam, the great celebration of the song led by Miriam. There are a lot of things in this portion that we should take note of. And I'm going to try to do this in my introduction to our guest scholar here, our dear Dr. Altshuler. What is the relationship between what we're reading this morning and our relationship with Israel today? Because the relationship is very profound. We read in the Torah portion, I'm just going to give you a little bit of a signal. We read in the Torah portion about a strong east wind that separated the seas. The Egyptian chariots got stuck in the mud. Maybe it was just a coincidence that the people of Israel were able to leave safely into freedom. Or The reason why we're reading this text this morning, the celebration, is that our people thought it was a miracle. It was a great nace. State of Israel. Stalin happened to support getting the British out of the Middle East, and so the vote on November 29, 1947, worked in Israel's favor to accept Israel as a state, independent state. Circumstances of the Arab armies fighting each other and not deciding on a very good strategy. And Israel won the War of Independence in 67, 73. Maybe it's just a matter of coincidence and natural circumstances that armies lose and armies win, and we just happen to have a state of Israel by sheer fortune, by luck. Or, how are we going to look upon the events of our lifetime 3,500 years later? I would dare say we would recognize it as a nace, as a miracle. So I want you to think about that, because there's a great mixture here between the natural and miraculous, which is usually defined as supernatural, or within the natural do we find the voice of God in the events that happen to our people. And then we're going to hear about Moses, and the people are scared and they're pleading, and God is saying, Vayisa'u, go forward. You have to, in a sense, go forward in order to create your miracles. Israel didn't just come about because God planted it on the soil of Eretz Yisrael. It happened because a lot of people stepped forward and fought for the Jewish state. So we see this combination happening in our lifetime as well. And then we have great reason to celebrate, because if not for the circumstances, we wouldn't be here today. And we reflect on this beautiful celebration of Israel's liberation from Egypt, the Shirat Hayam, the Song of the Sea. So let's begin.
ויעזור ויגן וירשיע לכל החוסים בו ונאמר אמן.
Amen.
הכל הגודל אלוהינו תנו כבוד לתורה. יעמוד אליעזר בן מנדל הכהן לעליית הכהן. ברוך שנתן תורה לעמו ישראל בקדושתו. ואתם הדבקים באדוני אלוהיכם חיים כולכם היום.
Page 399.
Baruch
Baruch Adonai Baruch Lilam Vaed.
Adonai Baruch Lilam Vaed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Olam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Amin V'natan Lanu Et Torato Baruch Atah Adonai Nosein HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vehi Beshalach paro et ha'am v'lo nacham Elohim derech eretz pelishtim ki karov hu ki amar Elohim pen yenechem ha'am birotam melchama v'shavu mitzrayma v'yasev Elohim et ha'am derech hamidbar yamsu v'chamushim alu b'nei Yisrael me'eretz Mitzrayim v'yikach Moshe et atzmot Yosef imo ki hashpeah et b'nei Yisrael lemor pakot yivkot Elohim etchem v'alitem et atzmotai mizeh idchem v'yisu mitzukot v'yachanu beitam b'ksei hamidbar v'Adonai holech lifnehem yomam v'yamud anon lichotam haderech v'layla v'yamud eish laha'ir lahem leleket yomam v'layla lo yamish amud hanan yomam v'yamud ha'eish layla
Lifnei
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Olam Asher Natan Lanu Torah Tamas V'chayei Olam Notah B'Sochenu Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Asher Kol.
יעמוד שרגא פייבל בן מנחם מנדל עליית הלוי.
The Torah reading continues on page 401 at verse 14.
Baruch es Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Vaed.
Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Vaed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bacha banu mikol amim. V'nosa asher. V'nosa lanu es toraso. Baruch atah Adonai nosein haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. V'daber Adonai al Moshe Lemor. Daber el bnei Yisrael v'yashuvu v'yachanu lifnei pi hachirot ben migdol uvein hayam lifnei ba'al tzafon nikhu tachanu al hayam v'yamar paro livnei Yisrael nevuchim heim ba'aretz sagar lehem hamidbar v'chizakti et le paro v'radaf acharehem v'chavda b'paro v'chol chelo v'yadu mitzrayim ki ani Adonai v'ya'asuchem. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher nasan lanu Torah emes v'chayei olam nata b'zacheinu Baruch atah Adonai nosein haTorah.
Amen.
Yamod Tzemach David ben Avraham Basar al Aliyah Shlishit.
The reading for the Shlishi Aliyah begins on page 401, the last line on the page.
Beru et Adonai Barak.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai Barak Le'olam Vaed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'harabanu mikol amim. V'natan lanu et torto. Baruch atah Adonai notein haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. V'yugad lemelech Mitzrayim ki barach ha'am v'hafach leva paro v'yavada v'ha'am v'yamru mazod asinu ki shalachnu et Yisrael me'avdenu v'yisur et rikbo v'et amolaka kimo v'yikach sheish me'ot rechav b'chor v'chol rechav Mitzrayim v'shalishim al kulo v'chazek Adonai et le paro melech Mitzrayim v'yirdof acharei b'nei Yisrael u'b'nei Yisrael
Yosim b'yad Ramah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata v'kayenu. Baruch atah Adonai notein haTorah.
Amen.
Amen.
If we could cover the Torah just for our Mishabera, a special aliyah, Mr. Zimmerman, Dennis Zimmerman, Shakoach. Mishabera, Chavatino Avraham, Yisav Yaakov, Sarah Rivka Rechavalea, Yevarech, et Tzemach David ben Avraham v'Sara, she'ala l'Torah likvod ha'makom v'likvod ha'Torah, v'likvod ha'Shabbat, v'likvod kilat ha'kodesh hazot, v'likvod yom huledet shelo ha'kadosh baruch hu, Yevarech et kol oto v'kol mishpachto, v'yishlach bracha v'hatzlacha b'chol ma'aseh yadav, im kol Yisrael lecha v'nomar.
Amen.
Amen. May He who bless our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless Semach David, the son of Avraham, the son of Sarah, Dennis Zimmerman, who has come to the Torah to honor God, to honor the Torah, to honor Shabbat, to honor our congregation, and as well to allow us to celebrate his Yom Huledet, his birthday. May the Holy One, blessed be He, grant you and your dear family nothing but blessing, success, health, goodness, laughter, joy, all the things that you're supposed to celebrate. And we're very happy for you. Asher Kol, happy birthday. Let's everyone sing.
Yom Huledet Sameach, Yom Huledet Sameach, Yom Huledet Sameach, Yom Huledet Sameach. Yamdu Chana Rezel Bat Yechezkel HaKohen V'Nachum Lezer Ben Yisrael Aliyat Haraviyit.
The reading continues on page 402, verse 9.
Adonai HaBarach.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Elam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai hamavarach li'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'notan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen. Yirfedu Mitzrayim achareihem v'yasigu otam konim al hayam kosus rechev paroho uforashav v'keloho apihi achirohot ifnei Baal Sifon uforo akriv v'yisuhu b'nei Yisrael et anechem v'hinei Mitzrayim nosea achareihem v'yiruhu me'od v'yitzakakuhu b'nei Yisrael el Adonai v'yomru el Moshe Ami blihi ein kivarim b'Mitzrayim lekach tanuhu lemut b'midbar mazot asita lanu le'otzianu b'Mitzrayim Eloza hadabar asher Yibarnuhu elecha b'Mitzrayim le'mor kadam mimenu v'na'abada et Mitzrayim ki tov lanu avad et Mitzrayim mimutenu b'midbar v'yomer Moshe el ha'am el tirahu Altirahu Hitatzavuhu Yeruhu et Yeshua Adonai Asher Ya'asehem Lechem Chayom Ki Asher Ritehem et Mitzrayim Hayom Lo Tosifu Yiratam od Adolam Adonai Yelechem Lechem V'yatem
Taharishon.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam notav b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Hannah and Norman Weinberg here. Hannah, in memory of your beloved father, Charles Cohen, a blessed memory in his yard site. Mark, what an honor for him. Perpetuate life. Be with him. Stay here.
Yamdu Yosef Aharon ben Chaim Yoshua Ushloma V'Sarabat Yocheved L'Aliyah HaChamishit.
The reading for the Chamishi Aliyah begins on page 403, verse 15.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'nosan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai nosein ha'torah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe, Matitza'ak Elai, Daber el b'nei Yisrael, v'yisau, v'ata, harem et maracha, v'natet, ונטה את ידך על הים ובקעהו, ויבואו בני ישראל בתוך הים ביבשה. ואני הנני מחזק את לב מצרים, ויבואו אחריהם בכבדה בפרעה ובכל חילו, ברכבו ובפרשיו. וידעו מצרים כי אני אדוני, בכבדי בפרעה, ברכבו ובפרשיו. וישא מלאך האלוהים ההולך לפני מחנה ישראל, וילך מאחריהם, וישא עמוד ענן מפניהם, ויעמוד מאחריהם, ויבוא בין מחנה מצרים ובין מחנה ישראל, ויהי הענן והחושך, ויער את הלילה, ולא קרא זה אל זה
כל הלילה.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, asher nasan lanu Torah emes v'chai olam notah b'sochenu. Baruch atah Adonai nosein haTorah.
Amen. Yesher koach.
Amen.
Sally and Joe.
I gave it to
Sixth Aliyah?
Yesher koach.
Oh, more. Sion and more. Good.
Yamdu, Zion ben Mordechai, Mor bat Gidon, Laliyah HaShishit.
The reading continues on page 404 at verse 21.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך.
ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר בחר בנו מכל העמים ונתן לנו את תורתו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
אמן.
אמן. ויית משה את ידו על הים, ויולך אדוני את הים ברוח קדימה זה כל הלילה, וישם את הים לחרבה, ויבקעו המים, ויבואו בני ישראל בתוך הים ביבשה, והמים להם חומה מימינם ומשמאלם, וירדפו מצרים, ויבואו אחריהם כל סוס פרעה, רכבו ופרשיו. פרשיו אל תוך הים, ויהי באשמורת הבוקר, וישקף אדוני אל מחנה מצרים בעמוד אש וענן, ויחון את מחנה מצרים, ויעשה את אופן מרכבותיו, וינהגהו בפדות, ויאמר מצרים, אנוסה מפני ישראל, כי אדוני
נלחם להם במצרים.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן תורת אמת וחיי עולם נתן בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
If we could cover the Torah, I'd like to do a special Misha Berach. Misha Berach Avotenu, Avraham, Yisaf, Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Leah, V'yavarech, et Zion. What's your father's Hebrew name? Zion Ben Mordechai, Umor, Bat Gidon, Veruti, Shalu LaTorah, Likvod HaMakom, Likvod HaTorah, Likvod HaShabbat, Likvod Kilat HaKodesh Hazot. HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yivarech Otam V'yitkol Mishpechotehem V'yishla Bracha V'hatzcha B'chol Ma'aseh Yedehem Im Kol Yisrael Alachehem V'nomar Amen. May you bless our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, Leah. Bless our dear guests from Carmel, Yosef, Israel, Zion, and more who have come to the Torah to honor God, to honor the Torah, to honor our Shabbat, and to honor our congregation. May God bless them. May the Holy One bless you both and your dear family with blessing and health and goodness. Please say hello, everybody, when you get back. And may God bless all the beautiful time that you are spending with us and honoring us. And let us all say, Amen. Baruch haba.
Yamod Mordechai ben Yisachar v'Goldel Aliyah Shviyit.
The reading for the Shavi'i Aliyah begins on page 405, the fourth line on the page.
And when we get to the Shira, we're gonna rise. So no, we're not there yet.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Varach Nilam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Varach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayomer Adonai al Moshe, Netei et yadecha al hayam, v'yashuvu hamayim al Mitzrayim, al Richbo v'al Parashat. Vayet Moshe et yado al hayam, vayashav hayam, lifnot boker le'etano, u'Mitzrayim nasim likrato, vayinaer Adonai et Mitzrayim betoch hayam, vayashuvu hamayim, vayechasu et harechev v'et haparashim, lechoch el paro, haba'im acharehem vayam, lo nishar bahem ad echad, uvnei Yisrael halchu vayabasha betoch hayam, vehamayim lahem choma miminam umismalam.
We rise.
Vayosh Adonai bayom hahu et Yisrael miyad Mitzrayim, vayar Yisrael et Mitzrayim meit al sefat hayam, vayar Yisrael et hayad hagadolah asher atzah Adonai v'Mitzrayim, vayiru ha'am et Adonai, vayaminu b'Adonai u'b'Moshe avdo. Az yashir Moshe u'vnei Yisrael et hashira hazot l'Adonai, vayamru lemor ashir l'Adonai, ki ga'o ga'a sus v'rocho rama vayam, o ziv zimratya vayehi lishua, zeli v'advehu Elohei aviv v'arom emenhu, Adonai ish milchama, Adonai shemo, Markevod paro v'chelo yara vayam, u'mivchar shalishab tubu v'yamsuf, tehomot yechasyumu yardu v'imsalot k'mo aven, yemin chadonai nedari v'akoach, yemin chadonai tiratzoyev, u'verav gencha taharos kamecha tishalach aroncha yochlemu kakash uvruach apecha nermu mayim nitzvu chamoned noslim kafu tahomot belev yam amar oyev erdo fasi gachalek shalal timla emo nafshi ari charbi tori shemo yadi nashafta baruchacha kisamo yam talalu ka'oferet b'mayim adirim michamocha ba'elim Adonai mikamocha neder ba'kodesh norati lo osefelet natita yamincha tivla emo aretz nachita v'chastecha amzu ga'alta nehalta v'yascha el neve kachecha shamu amin yigarzun chil achaj yoshvei pelashet az nivhalu alufei edom elei moav yochatzemo ra'ad namogu kol yoshvei Canaan tipol aleihem emata v'fachad bigdol zeracha yimu ka'aven ad yavoram kadonai
Ad yavoram zukanita
teviema betita ema behar nachalatecha machon l'shivtecha pa'al ta'anai mikdash Adonai kananu yadecha
Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed
Kiva susparo birikbo v'farsha bayam vayashav Adonai aleihem et mei hayam uvenei Yisrael hachu v'yabesha betoch hayam vatikach Miriam hanaviyah achot Aharon et hatof biadah ותצאנה כל הנשים אחריה בתופים ובמחולות ותן להם מרים שיר לאדוני כי גאל גאה סוס ורחבו רמה בים.
You may be seated.
וישא משה את ישראל מים סוף ויצאו עד מדבר שור וילכו 3 ימים במדבר ולא מצאו מים ויבואו מרתה ולא יכלו לשתות מים ממרה כי מרים הם על כן קרא שמה מרה וילונו העם על משה לאמור מה נשתה ויצעק אל אדוני ויראהו אדוני עץ וישלך אל המים וימתקו המים שם שם לו חוק ומשפט ושם נישאו ויאמר אם שמוע תשמע לכל אדוני אלוהיך והישר בעיניו תעשה והאזנת למצוותיו ושמרת כל חוקיו כל המחלה אשר שמתי במצרים לא אשים עליך כי אני אדוני רופאך.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen. Please rise as we recite our Mishabera for those who are ill. And I know that we had a recent accident. If you'll please come forward and give me your husband's name so that we can include him in our Mishabera. Mishabera Chavatenu Avram Yaakov, Sarah Rivka Rachavaleah, Hu Yevareh Repet Kol HaCholim, Yehuda Shimon ben Rivka Umoshe, Lynn Thurling. What's his Hebrew name? Tzvi ben Tova. Tzvi Yitzhak ben Chaya, Shima David Yosef ben Chanabasha, Yitzhak bat Shulamit, Rivka Shifra bat Sarah Basil, Leah bat Sarah, Mary Barton, Zachary Zimmerman, Miriam bat Nacham, Matis Chaim, Itzich bat Noach, Beryl Tiam ben Eliezer, Eliezer ben Braindel u Avraham, Shalom ben Chayasara ve'Ezra Meir, Devorah Leah bat Chana u Moshe, Sarah Shoshana bat Yesel, Yaakov, Chaim Yitzhak ben Rachel, John Puckhaper, Yitzhak Meir ben Bela ve'Yeshaya, Yachor, Tevye Gershon ben Rivka ve'Aharon Avi, Michael ben Yehudit, Ari David ben Miriam, Yehuda ben Haaretz, Eliezer ben Mendel Kohen, Tova bat Hinda, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Yimle Rachimim Alehem, Merabu Refuah Shlema Min HaShamayim, Refuat HaNefesh, Refuat HaGuf, B'tosh Arach HaCholim, V'chazek Yedidei Hoskim B'tzorchehem, Shabbat Hi, Mizok Kurovo Lavo, Ashtab Bizman Kariv and Omar. Amen. May he who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bring blessing and healing to all of our dear ones, loved ones, and friends we've included in our prayers this morning on this Shabbat. May the Holy One mercifully restore them to complete health and vigor, granting them spiritual and physical well-being together with all others who are ill. And may God grant strength to those who tend to them. It is Shabbat, a time to refrain from petition and crying out. Nevertheless, we hope on this day of peace and pray that healing for our dear ones is at hand. And let us all say,
Amen. Mishabera avotenu makor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishabera imotenu makor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Yitkara v'yitkara shemei rabba, v'yama divrach yirteh v'yamlich malchuteh, b'chayechon u'v'yamechon, Bagala, Bagala, Uvizman Kariv, V'yamaru, Amen. Yeheshme Rabba Mavarach, Yalam Lame Yamaya, Yitbarach, V'yishtabach, V'yitpar, V'yitramam, V'yitnaseh, V'yit hadar, v'yit aleh, v'yit halal, shmei de kudesha berechim, leila min kol verchata v'shirata, tush v'chata v'nechemata, damiran b'yalma, v'yimaru, Amen.
Please be seated.
Yamar Achazan Menachem ben Ze'ev Yosef Vadina, Aliyat HaMaftir.
The Torah reading for the Maftir Aliyah begins on page 412, verse 22.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Elam Vahed.
Baruch אתה אדוני רוח לעולם ועד, ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר בחר בנו מכל העמים ונתן לנו את תורתו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen. Verse 22.
Amen. Vayasa Moshe et Yisrael mi'am Suv, vayetzu el midbar shur, vayalchu shloshet yamim, bamidbar v'lo matzu mayim, vayavo marata v'lo yachlu, lishtot mayim mimara, ki marim heim, al ken karashema mara. Vayilonu ha'am al Moshe lemor manishte, vayitzak el Adonai, vayarehu Adonai eitz, vayashlech el hamayim, vayimteku hamayim, sham sam lo, choku mishpat v'sham nisahu, vayomer im shamo tishma, Lekol Adonai Elohecha, v'hayashar beinav taseh, v'hazanta l'mitzvotav, v'shamarta kol chukav, kol hamachala, asher samti b'mitzrayim lo asim alecha, ki ani Adonai rofecha.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen. We rise.
יעמדו המגביה והגולל.
V'zot haTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei b'nei Yisrael al pi Adonai b'yad Moshe. V'zot haTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei b'nei Yisrael al pi Adonai b'yad Moshe. V'zot haTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei b'nei Yisrael al pi Adonai b'yad Moshe. Please be seated. We turn to page 428 in the Chumash, and we'll be reading the Shirat Devorah, approximately 12th century before the Common Era. It's one of the oldest Hebrew texts that we have, along with the Shirat Hayam. Very difficult text, and this is the longest Haftarah ever. But we're abbreviating it a little bit. But we certainly thank Cantor Murray Simon for being here and honoring this beautiful, beautiful text to the heroism of Devorah, which we're going to be hearing about. So page 428, beginning with the 12th verse at the top of the page. Uri, Uri.
הבוחר בתורה ומשה עבדו ובישראל עמו ונהיה אמת וצדק.
אמן.
אורי אורי דבורה אורי אורי דברי שיר קום ברח ושבי שבייך בן אבינועם אז ירד צרי לאדירים עמם, אדוני ירד לי בגיבורים. מיני אפרים, שושם בעמלק, אחריך בנימין בעממך. מיני מחיר, ירדו מחככים, ומזבולון מושכים בשבט סופר. בשרי בשכר עם דבורה, ויששכר כן ברח בעמק, שולח ברגליו. מפלגות ראובן גדולים, חיככי לב. למה ישבת בין המשפטיים, לשמוע סריקות הדרים? לפלגות ראובן גדולים, הכרי לב. גלעד בעבר הירדן שכן ודן, למה יגור אוניות אשר ישב לכוך ימים, ועל מפרציו ישכון. זבולון המחרף נפשו למות, ונפתלי על מרומי שדה. באו מלכים נלחמו, אז נלחמו מלכי כנען. בתנ"ך על מי מגידו, בצע כסף לא לקחו. מן שמיים נלחמו, הכוכבים ממסילותם נלחמו עם סיסרא. נחל קישון גרפם, נחל קדומים, נחל קישון. תדרכי נפשי עוז, אז הלמו יקבי סוס, מדרות דרות אביריו. אורו מאירו זמה מלאך אדוני, אורו ארו יושביה, כי לא באו לעזרת אדוני, לעזרת אדוני בגיבורים. תבורך מנשים יעל, אשת חבר הקני, מנשים באוהל תבורך. מים של חלב נתנה, וספל אדירים הקריבה חמה. ידה ליתה תשלחנה, וימינה לחלמות המלים, וחלמה סיסרא מחקה ראשה, ומחצה וחלפה רקתו. בין רגליה כרת נפל שכב, בין רגליך כרת נפל, אשר כרת שם נפל שדוד. בעד החלון נשקפה ותייבב עם סיסרה בעד האשנב. מדוע פושש רכבו לבוא, מדוע איחרו פעמי מרכבותיו, החמות שערותיה לעננה, אף היא תשיב אמריה לה. הלא ימצאו חלקו שלל, רחמתיים לראש גבר, שלה צבעים לסיסרא, שלה צבעים רקמה, צבע רקמתיים לצווארי שלל. כן יאבדו כל אויביך אדוני, ואוהביו כצאת השמש בגבורתו. תשקוט הארץ 40 שנה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך עולם, צור כל עולמים, צדיק בכל הדורות. אבל הנאמן אומר ויוסע, מדבר ומקיים, שכל דבריו אמת וצדק. נאמן אתה הוא אדוני אלוהינו, ונאמנים דבריך, ודבר אחד מדבריך כל לא ישוב ריקם, כי אין מלך נאמן ורחמן אתה. ברוך אתה אדוני אבל הנאמן בכל דבריו. רחם הציון כי בית חיינו, ולעלו עד נפש תושיע במהרה בימינו. ברוך אתה אדוני,
ברוך וברוך שמו,
משמח ציון בבניה.
אמן.
שמחנו אדוני אלוהינו באליהו הנביא עבדך, ומלכות בית דוד משיחך. במהרה יבוא ויגל ליבנו, על כיסאו לא ישב זר, ולא ינחלו עוד אחרים את כבודו. כי בשם קודשך נשבעת לו, שלא יכפה נרו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני,
ברוך שמו,
מגן דוד.
אמן.
על התורה ועל העבודה ועל הנביאים ועל יום השבת הזה שנתת לנו אדוני אלוהינו, לקדושה ולמנוחה, לכבוד ולתפארת. על הכל אדוני אלוהינו אנחנו מודים לך ומברכים אותך. יתברך שמך בפי כל חי תמיד לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני,
ברוך שמו,
מקדש השבת.
Amen. As usual, incredible. Thank you so much, Ken. Thank you, Kennerson. It's so stirring. Please rise, everyone. We're going to recite the prayer for our country first on page 177. Let's read together. Our God and God of our ancestors, With mercy, accept our prayer on behalf of our country and its government. Pour out your blessing upon this land, upon its inhabitants, upon its leaders, its judges, officers, and officials who faithfully devote themselves to the needs of the public. Help them understand the rules of justice you have decreed, so that peace and security, happiness and freedom will never depart from our land. Adonai, God, whose spirit is in all creatures, we pray that your spirit be awakened within all the inhabitants of our land. Uproot from our hearts hatred and malice, jealousy and strife. Plant love and companionship, peace and friendship among the many peoples and faiths who dwell in our nation. Grant us the knowledge to judge justly, the wisdom to act with compassion, and the understanding and courage to root out poverty from our land. May it be your will that our land be a blessing to all who dwell on earth, and may you cause all peoples to dwell in friendship and freedom. Speedily fulfill the vision of your prophets. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. For all of them, from the least of them to the greatest, shall know me. And let us say, Amen. And now Tfilat Shalom Medinat Yisrael, which will be read by our guest here, Mor's husband, Sion Saleh. It's a great honor.
אבינו שבשמיים, צור ישראל וגאולו, ברך את מדינת ישראל, ראשית צמיחת גאולתנו, הגן עליה בעברת חסדיך ופרוס עליה סוכת שלומך, ושלח עודיך ואמתך לראשיה, שריה ויועציה, ותקנם בעצה טובה מלפניך, חזק את ידי מגיני ארץ
Emotional moment.
חזק ידי מגיני
Amen.
Excuse me.
No, no. The trouble is it's contagious, so I never take our prayers for granted. There was, in fact, an article in the Wall Street Journal about congregations eliminating the prayer. Again, that will never, ever, ever happen as long as I'm blessed being the rabbi of this congregation. That's the way I feel. Please be seated, everyone. Let's continue on page 181. Ashrei.
Ashrei yoshvei vetecha, hod Yehuda lachasela. Ashrei am shekacha lo, Ashrei am shadonai Elohav tzilat leDavid. Aromim cha Elohai hamelech ve'aracha shimcha leolam va'ed bechol yom arvacheka v'halacha shimcha leolam va'ed. Gadol Adonai umlal meod, ve'li duato ein cheker. Dor ledor yeshabach ma'asecha, ugvorotecha yagidu. Hadar kevod hodecha, divrei niflotecha asicha, ve'zuz noratecha yomeru, udulatacha asaprena. Zecherav tucha yabiu v'tzidkatecha yeranenu. Nun verachum Adonai, erech apayu dal chesed. Tov Adonai lakol, v'rachamav al kol ma'asav. Ducha Adonai kol ma'asecha, v'chasidecha yevarchucha. Kevod malchutcha yomeru, U'vruatcha yedaberu, di alifnei ha'adam gvurotav, v'chod hadar malchuto. Malchutecha malchut kol olamim, u'memshaltecha bechol dor v'ador. Mech Adonai lechol hanoflim, v'zokef lechol hakafufim. Einei kol elecha yesaberu, v'altenoten lahem et achlam beito. Poteach et yadecha, u'mazbi elechol charatzon. Tzadik Adonai b'chol derachav, v'chasid b'chol ma'asav. Rov Adonai lechol korav, v'chol asher yikra'u ve'emet. רצון יראיו יעשה, את שבתם ישמע ויושיעם. שומר אדוני כל אוהביו, ואת כל הרשעים ישמיד. תהילת אדוני ידבר פיו, ויברך כל בשר שם קדשו לעולם ועד. ואנחנו נברך יה מעתה ועד עולם. הללויה. יהללו את שם אדוני, כי נשגב שמו לבדו. הודו על ארץ ושמיים, וירא קרן לעמו. תהילה לכל חסידיו, לפני ישראל עם קרובו. הללויה, הללויה. מזמור לדוד. הבו לאדוני בני אלים, הבו לאדוני כבוד ועוז. הבו לאדוני כבוד שמו, השתחוו לאדוני בהדרת קודש. לאדוני אלוהים אל הכבוד הרים. אדוני על מים רבים. כל אדוני בכוח, כל אדוני בהדר. כל אדוני שובר עזים, וישבר אדוני את ארזי הלבנון. ויקידם כמו עגל לבנון, וסיריון כמו בין רעבים. כל אדוני חוצב להבות אש, כל אדוני יכיל מדבר. יכיל אדוני מדבר קדש. כל אדוני יחולל איילות, וכסוף יערוד. ובהיכלו כולו אומר כבוד. כולו אומר כבוד. אדוני למבול ישב, וישב אדוני מלך לעולם. אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן. אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום. את עמו, את עמו, את עמו בשלום. Die, 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 die. Ya, na, 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 na. La, 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 la. Na, 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 la, la. Na, 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 la, 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 da, 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 da. Ya, da, 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 da. Ya, na, 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 na. Na, na, la, 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 la. La, 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 la. Na, 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 na. La, da, 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 da. ובנוחו יאמר. כי לקח טוב נתתי לכם, תורתי אל תעזובו. עץ חיים היא, למה חזיקים בה, וצומחיה מאושר דרכיה, דרכי נועם, וכל נתיבותיה שלום. השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה, חדש ימינו כקדם.
Please be seated, everyone. All tied up here. Let me just explain what the program will be. I'm going to introduce Dr. Eric Ferber in a minute, to introduce me, to introduce our guest speaker. We're going to have I'm going to say a few words. Dr. Altshuler is going to say a few words. And tomorrow, we're going to be talking about the Torah portion and the Haftarah this morning. And tomorrow will be about, for those of you I encourage to come, about the contemporary situation in the state of Israel. We'll be here at 10 o'clock in the morning for that. And there's no one who knows what's going on there more than more. And, of course, her husband, Sion. So, Eric? It's not on?
Good morning and Shabbat Sholom to you all. Once again, a warm welcome to all of those here in the sanctuary and those on live stream. Once again, we welcome our distinguished scholar in residence, Professor Dr. Mor Altshuler and her husband Sion. And again, we welcome Dr. Bill Freund and Yola Levine up in Chatham, New Jersey, and all of their family. This morning we again have another presentation by our scholar in residence, and I'd just like to say a few words about Dr. Freund. I did give a more detailed biography last night, so this morning the description will be a bit shorter. The Scholar in Residence program was initiated by Dr. Bill Freund 18 years ago in memory of his beloved wife, Judy. It was Judy's idea to begin this scholarship, this Scholar in Residence, and this has been perpetuated for the last 18 years. Dr. Freund has been a very loyal congregant since he joined our congregation in 1987. He's been a friend, a supporter, and has always maintained a very strong interest in all our activities. He's been a snowbird living on Siesta Key all these years, but lately he's preferred to stay up north and be with his family. For those who don't know much about Dr. Freund, he is Chief Economist Emeritus of the New York Stock Exchange. He received his doctorate in economics from Columbia University. He's written numerous books, especially Investment Fundamentals, which was a bestseller. He's written numerous other books, and particular note, he's written 2 children's books destined for ages 6 to 96, because he himself is 96 years old. And one of them is The Cookies That Saved America. It describes his family's flight from Nazi Germany in 1937. His mother brought a treasured family recipe back from Germany with them, from Nuremberg, and they opened the famous Paula's Bakery, where she made her famous cookies. But this is a remarkable little book, and I'm the proud recipient of an autographed copy from Dr. Freund. Dr. Freund and I correspond regularly, and he wanted me also to make note of the fact that he is one of the last surviving Holocaust survivors. So we pay tribute to Dr. Freund and his late wife Judy and thank them for all they have done for our congregation. And now it gives me great pleasure to ask Rabbi Altshuler to invite his cousin up to the podium and to introduce her to us.
I will, and thank you, Eric. And we hope that, thank you for your feedback last night. We hope that we're going to really make sure that our sound system is working well, so that at home and as well here, that everybody can hear appropriately. You've all seen the credentials of Dr. Moore Altshuler, so I'm not going to repeat that because we really want to get into the content of what we're doing, and I thought that a great introduction instead would be a Devar Torah on the portion of Beshalach. And I think all of you know already my passion for the state of Israel and for the history of the Jewish people that led to the creation of the state of Israel. I am forever thankful for all my many trips there, and especially to the Altshuler family in Rehovot, and then Karmei Yosef and Sion and your dear ones and the whole family there that has been my entryway into a beautiful, beautiful love affair that I have with our Jewish state. As we all know, the state of Israel today evokes passion, controversy, constant debate, love, battles about Jewish history, the aim of Jewish history. I wish sometimes I come in every week and there's always something in the news. And I always say to my students, I wish things were easier. Well, we have a verse from the opening of this week's Torah portion that speaks to that. It was never meant to be easy. As we hear, Vayeh Beshalach Paro et ha'am, Pharaoh sent the nation away, V'lo nacham Elohim, and Lo nacham Elohim derech eretz plishtim. God did not send them on the west coast route, which would have shortened the journey by probably 39 and a half years. Ki karovhu. Now the translation here is, although it was near, I'm going to make it even stronger and say, because it was near. Because, because, I think that's kind of a softening of the meaning of the text. You Jewish people were never meant to have an easy course. You have to go around 40 years. You have to suffer a little bit. You have to keep complaining. You don't have water, you don't have food. Because then when you get to Eretz Yisrael, hopefully by that time you'll find great appreciation for what you've been through. And I dare say we're going through the same thing today. A lot of struggle, a lot of passion, a lot of questions, but the attachment and the goal is always there in my view. So we were never meant to have an easy time. In fact, can you imagine, right after the seas part, I don't know about you, if I saw this and saw the Egyptian armies drowning in the sea and my people were led into freedom, I would probably note that something incredible is going on. But right after that happens, the people start complaining. Again, and they complain. First of all, they were afraid when they were approaching. I don't know what to do. And then God says, Vayisal, go forward. And then when they've been freed and they're dancing and celebrating, immediately they're constantly complaining. Perhaps, I'm going to raise the question, perhaps that's the way we're relating to the state of Israel today. We've had too many miracles to digest, but we keep complaining. And then the other aspect of this, which I think is really important, is how do we view the state of Israel today? It's related to the way the Torah describes the exodus from Egypt. On the one hand, it was a miraculous event. The seas parted and the people went through. That must have really been incredible to watch. But on the other hand, it says, Ruach Kadim Azah, that a strong eastern wind came and did it. So if you were looking at that, you could say, well, the Egyptian troops got stuck in the mud, and we were there, and we were very lucky. A wind came and opened up the seas, and we were able to cross through. It was all Natural explanation, nothing unusual. But on the other hand, something very miraculous happened, and we can relate that to the creation of the state of Israel. Israel was created, there was nationalism and messianism, the problems with enlightenment, and then after the Shoah, the political alignment came in, and Stalin wanted the British out, and he thought that the Arab armies would destroy Israel, and it was all by sheer luck that all that happened. But do we look upon the state of Israel as a natural occurrence, or is there something miraculous? Which our people understood what happened, and why we're here reading the Shir, that something is miraculous in the air about Jewish existence, about our freedom, about our journey, difficult journey. And it's the same, to me, it's the same for the state of Israel. When I see all the tensions and the problems, whatever, I just consider it to be part of the process, the journey that we're going. But I never for one day, this is my view, never for one day take for granted that there's something very cosmic and very global about our modern state of Israel, what it means not only to the Jewish people, but to the entire world, so that we can say, V'yaminu b'Adonai u'v'Moshe avdo. So we can say, even after everything that happened, that the people believed in God and in his servant, Moses. And that's where we need to be. I just mention one last thing before I introduce more. I study a lot of history, and probably the greatest British historian of all time was Arnold Toynbee. And Arnold Toynbee was a rabid anti-Semite. It's in the 20s and 30s, that's when anti-Semites were really having the field day. And he studied history, he was a great scholar, but when it came to Jewish history, he had such contempt for the Jewish people, said, I can't understand those Jews. They're a fossil of history. They don't count in any historical category. They're not even worth our attention anymore. And that's what Toynbee missed. He missed that we are unique, and our history is unique, and our journey is unique, and it is miraculous. And so on that note, dear Dr. Moore Altshuler, I don't know, let's see what's best. Do you want to try this first, or do you want to go right to the center by Emsa? Okay.
Let me see.
Probably the hand mic then?
No, wait. The number 3. Okay. Here, this way. This one, is it on? Shabbat Shalom.
That's better.
Can you hear me now?
You did it, yes.
Okay.
That's
I'm
good.
sorry, I apologize for last night. And I made it my business this morning. We came very early, and I tested all the microphones until we realized together that microphone number 3 was the one. So I'm sorry, and I hope everybody hears me also in the back. Okay. If there is any problem, just raise your hand and say we can't hear you, and I'll come forward, okay? Because I really want you to hear. I've been working very hard on this drasha, although it's going to be very short now, because following Rabbi Altshuler is really a mission. You know, you're a star. I cannot compete with your stardom. So Rabbi Altshuler talked about the week's parasha, which describes the miracle that was done to the Israelites when they escaped from Egypt. The sea split in two, and the Israelites crossed over on land, whereas Pharaoh's soldiers in their chariots drowned in the sea. I will shortly talk this morning about the haftarah of this parasha, which describes a similar miracle. In both stories, the enemy has chariots, which were the tanks of the ancient armies. By the way, each chariot had 1 or 2 horses, war horses, and it carried 2 soldiers, an archer and a driver. Later, it was replaced in the heavenly chariot of Yechezkel, of the prophet Ezekiel, with 4 mythological animals that were harnessed to the heavenly chariot, revealed to the prophet Yechezkel. And of course, in modern era, the Israeli tank is called Merkava, chariot. So we deal with chariots in both stories. And in both stories, the chariots drowned in the sea or sank in the mud, and the Israelites were saved. The Haftarah story occurred in the time of the judges. The Israelites were subjected for 20 years to the tyrannic rule of Jabin, king of Canaan, that reigned in the Galilee city of Hatzor. He had a strong army of 900 chariots, and that's really a strong and powerful army. Devorah, a prophetess and judge, summons the northern tribes and gathers an army of 10,000 volunteers, lacking military experience, under the command of Barak, the son of Avinoam. Deborah decides to carry out a maneuver to neutralize the advantage of the army, the forceful army of Yavin. How would the few people, untrained volunteers, defeat a well-trained army of 900 chariots? There must be either a miracle or a military maneuver. And here is her idea. She orders Barak to gather his troops on Mount Tabor and march toward the Kishon stream gorge to draw Javin's chariots into the narrow gorge. When the chariots reach the stream, a storm breaks out, rain falls, and 900 chariots sink into the mud. And as Rabbi Altshuler asked, was it a miracle that the rain started right in the minute we wanted him to start? Or was it just a military good maneuver? Both ways, Javin's army commander, Sisra, abandoned his chariot and found shelter in the tent of Yael, of the Kenite tribe. And Yael kills Sisra, and his army is whipped out. The story ends with Deborah's hymn and praise. The hymn parallels Moses' hymn after the miracle in the sea. Both of them believed that the forces of nature that defeated the two mighty armies were acting on God's behalf, on God's mission. So they both thanked God for the miracle he had performed. So in a way, there is no question, is it natural or miraculous? Because nature works for God. So we are saved. Either way, we are saved by nature, which is the messenger of God. Now let's look for a minute on the image of Dvorah. Our sages said, "Oh, to the generation whose leader is a woman. Avoy lador sheisha manhiga oto." Therefore, Deborah was marginalized for many generations. But nowadays, she has returned. First, due to the archaeological excavation at Tel Hatzor in the eastern Galilee, which uncovered a large and fortified Canaanite city from the Iron Age that was later under the rule of the Kingdom of Israel. And today it's a very interesting archaeological site. For example, in 2010, archaeologist Adam Zartal announced that he had found a bronze rod belonging to an ancient chariot at Tel Hatzor, and he called it the chariot of Sisra. So he said, I found the chariot of Sisra. Zartal further claimed that, like the Philistines, Sisra also belonged to the sea Gentiles who came from the island of Sardinia and settled along the coast of Israel. So as an archaeological site, it's a very interesting archaeological site, and of course archaeologists argue about the findings and what the true meaning of the findings are, and that's very interesting to follow. Yet Deborah is mainly appreciated as a feminist icon, a woman prophetess and judge, an icon of equality between men and women in the Bible. Deborah's leadership style is feminine and motherly. Her army commander, Barak ben Avinoam, Barak son of Avinoam, leans on her emotionally as a child leans on his mother. He does not agree to go into battle unless Deborah comes with him. And Barak said unto her, if you will go with me, then I will go. But if you will not go with me, I will not go. I think it's a little bit like a child wants his mother, to go with him and accompany him. And she said, I will surely go with you. Nevertheless, the journey that you take shall not be for your honor, for God will give Sisera over into the hand of a woman. And this prophecy was fulfilled when Yael killed Sisera. So Deborah opens her hymn in praise of the female leaders. She describes the lack of security in her time and says, until I stood up, Deborah, I stood up a mother in Israel. Please note, she calls herself a mother of Israel. Other nations iconize legendary female warriors. The French praise the Virgin Jeanne d'Arc. In Greek methodology, the Amazons are described as female warriors who used to cut off their right breast so that it would not interfere with their archery. But in contrast, Deborah presents herself as a mother. She teaches us that motherhood is not a barrier to leadership, but in fact is the motivation for leadership. Just as a mother puts her children's life before her own, so the leader of the people of Israel should consider the lives of the people of Israel before his or her personal interest. Deborah's maternal leadership style tells us something. A leader of Israel should put the interest and the good of the people of Israel before his own personal interest. And this understanding takes us back to Moses, our Moses, because he is not only the hero of this week's parasha, who sings the hymn of victory and praises after the miracle that took place in the sea. Then sang Moses and the children of Israel this song into God. Moses is in fact more than that. Moses is a leader with a style of leadership that could be compared to that of Deborah, because the analogy between Deborah and Moses reminds us that Moses also has a motherly style of leadership in biblical terms. He was willing to sacrifice his life to save the people of Israel. And it occurred in more than one occasion, but let me remind you one occasion in particular. It was during one particular crisis after the sin of the golden calf. God plans to kill the sinful Israelites, leaving only Moses alive, to bring a new people from him. But Moses refuses and answers to God. And Moses returned unto God and said, "Oh, these people have sinned a great sin and have made them a god of gold. Yet now, if you will forgive this sin, and if not, blot me, I pray thee, out of the book which you have written." The book that God has written is the book of life. So in other words, Moses asked God to erase him from the book of life, or simply to kill him with the rest of the Israelites. The analogy between Deborah and Moses thus teaches us what true leadership is: the willingness of the leader, man or woman, to put the good of the people of Israel before his or her interest, and even sacrifice their lives, if necessary, to save the people of Israel. The distinction is not gender, it is moral. And it is always like this in the Bible. The distinction is not gender, it is moral. Only a person who is able to put the good of the people before his personal good deserves to be a leader. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. I hope you heard well, everyone. And let me tell you, we are so excited, Tion and I, to be here and to be welcomed by this beautiful congregation. And I'm looking forward to meeting you all tomorrow in my last lecture about the miraculous Israel, or the miracle of Israel. And then, of course, it will be followed by your questions and your debates, because we are all Jews, and Jews do not take anything for granted. They ask, they argue, and this is the fun that we are going to have tomorrow. So thank you very much, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Beautiful.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you. Number 3 did it.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, my dear one. Okay. Please rise, everyone. Deborah, I don't know which, number 3, number 2, number 4.
Is this number 3?
This is number 3. Please rise for the Musaf service. Page 184. Mea Shlomim ve'arba.
Okay, thank you. Yitgadal v'yikadash shemei rabba be'amad divra kirutei v'amlich malchutei b'chayei v'yomei uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael b'galav izman koriv v'imaru amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevarach Le'olam U'amei Amaya Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitba'ar V'yitramam V'yitnasei V'yitadar V'yitalev V'yitalal Shemei Dekudsha Barichu Le'ela Mimkal Berchata V'shirata Tushbachata v'nechamata da'amiran be'ama v'imaru amen.
Together on page 185, the Musaf Amidah for Shabbat through the Kedusha on page 187, and then in silence the remainder of the Amidah through page 192.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim v'Konei Hakol v'Zocher Chasdei Avot u'Mevi Goel Livnei v'Neihem L'ma'an Shemo b'Yahava Melech Ozer Ofokedo Moshiach U'Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham Ufoked Sarah Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechayei Meitim Atav Rav Lehoshia Mashiv Haruach U'Morid Hagashem Mechalkel Chayim Bechesed Mechayei Meitim Barachamim Rabim Somech Noflim V'Rofei Cholim Umatir Asurim Umakayem Emunato Lishenei Afar Michamocha Ba'al Gevurot Umido Melach Melech Meimid Umachayeh Umatzmiach Yeshua V'ne'eman atah lahachayot meitim Baruch atah Adonai Mechayei hameitim. Na'aritzecha v'nakdishecha Kesod siach Sarfei Kodesh, Hamakdishim, Shimcha Bakodesh, Kakatuv Ayad Neviyecha, V'kara zel zeviyamar, Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzevahot, Meloch al haaretz kivodo. Kivodo mahale mahale olam aye mekom kivodo. Kivodo mahale mahale olam aye mekom kivodo. Kevodo male male olam misharat of shoalim shoalim zelaze I am mekom kevodo misharat of shoalim shoalim zelaze I am mekom kevodo liumatam baruch yomeru
Baruch kavod Adonai mihimkom.
Baruch kevod Adonai mimekomo. Mimekomo hu yifen barachamim v'yachonam hamiyachadim shemo erev avoker b'chol yom tamid Pamayim Yahava Shema Omrim Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Hu Eloheinu Hu Avinu Hu Malkeinu Hu Moshienu Vehu Yashmienu Berachamav Shenit Liene Kochai La la da 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 La la da da La da 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 La la da 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 La la da 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 Liot lachem leElohim Ani Adonai Elohechem Udivrei kachecha katuv le'mor Yimloch Adonai le'olam Elohai Sion Ledor vador Hallelujah Ledor vador Ledor vador Ledor vador Nagid Golecha Ledor vador Ledor vador Ledor vador Nagid Golecha Ulenetzach netzachim Kedushatcha nakdish Kedushatcha nakdish V'shivchacha Eloheinu Mipinu lo yamush Le'olam le'olam va'ed Ledor vador Ledor vador Ledor vador Nagid Golecha Ledor vador Ledor vador Ledor vador Nagid Golecha Ki melech gadol v'kadosh ata v'kadosh ata Ki melech gadol v'kadosh ata gadol v'kadosh ata Baruch atah Adonai ha'el ha'kadosh.
Korban Musa Shabbat Korban. Seamless if the time is related, some silver them with the Yet Musa Yom HaShabbat has every Ismachu חמדת ימים אותו קראת. זהר לי בני עבדך במר, אל תגדל לנו ביבוא. מודי מה אנחנו בו. הטוב כי לא חלו רחמך
Oh, say shalom, shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom. Oh, say shalom, shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom. Hu yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imaru amen. Ve'imaru amen.
Kaddish Shalem, page 203.
Yitgadal v'yikdash shmei Rabbah, be'amad divra kirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, b'galav izman kariv v'imaru, amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach, le'olam amei hamaya yitbarach, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnasei, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalau shmei Kudesh abrichu le'elamim kol berchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechamata damiran b'yama v'imaru amen. Tikabal salotahon u'utahon d'chol Yisrael kodam avahon divishmaya v'imaru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imaru amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. V'imru amen.
Ein Keloheinu, page 204.
En Keloheinu, en Kadonenu, en Kimalkeinu, en Kamoshienu, mi Eloheinu, mi Kadonenu, mi Chimalkeinu, mi Chamoshienu, no del Eloheinu, no del Adonenu, no del Malkeinu, no del Moshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu, Atahu Shechitiru, Avotenu Lefanecha. Et ketorat hasamim en keloheinu en kadonenu en kemalkeinu en kamoshienu.
Alakum, please rise. Aleinu, page 205.
Aleinu l'shabeach le'adon hakol la'aseis gedula le'yotzer bereshit shelo asanu kekoye ha'aratzot velo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama shelo sam chelkenu kahem v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam va'anachnu korim Umishtakavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu shehu notei shamayim veyoser aretz umoshav yakaro bashamayim imahal ushchin asuzo begavhei meromim hu Eloheinu einod emes malkeinu efes zulato kakatu betorato v'yadat hayom v'hashevota elevavecha ki Adonai hu ha'Elohim bashamayim imahal v'yal haaretz mitachat Einod. Kakatu betoratecha Adonai imloch liolam vahed v'nehemar v'hayo Adonai lemelech al koretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad.
Please be seated, everyone, as we pause to remember our dear ones. First, we remember two of our congregants who passed away this week. Cy Kleonsky passed away in North Carolina or South Carolina and interred in New York. We wish our comfort and solace to Sarah, David, Ari, and Rona Kleonsky, their beloved father. And here with us is Laura Tobias with her daughters Sue and Rochelle, and Jessica here as well. Sigmund Tobias passed away. He was a beloved part of our congregation. Just a few months ago, he recited the Haftarah and told us about his family, survivors of the Shoah, who escaped after Kristallnacht, went to Shanghai, and then with nothing he came to the United States. And he was a great spokesman, a dear Jew who returned to his people later in life. A beautiful soul whom I had the privilege of befriending this last few months before his passing. So to you, Laura, and Rochelle, and Sue, and Jessica, we wish you nothing but condolence and sweet memories of strength as time passes. Your grandfather, your father, your husband will always be there with you. We also note the yard sites this week of Ruth Bacow, Gertrude Bachler, Rose Schwartz, Isaac Bergman, David Chernov, Gertrude Bachler, Avishai Cohen, Hannah Cohn, Ann Metzger, Ellen Eras, Gerald Ferber, Abraham Cooperman, Selma Fieder, Benjamin Frank, Hugo Freund, Olga Altman, Hyman Goldrich, Julius Green, Rita Green, Eugene Green, Celia G. Halperin, Susan Rubin, Bernard Copeland, Sharon Asnes, Molly R. Ginsberg, Jenny Belenkoff, Lily Izikoff, Gordon B. Katz, Ruth Katz, Samuel Katz, Min Kaufman, Sarah Wendren Kessler, Nathan Kessler, Betty Levick, Herbert Angel, Jane Maltz, Warren Kirschner, Aaron Perlmutter, Irving Robbins, Chaim Hadida, Jeanette Fromm, Abraham Coburn, Gertrude Plotkin, Betty Levick, Jenny Wald, Charles Cohen, Lillian Wiesner, Gussie Tozitsky, all of blessed memory. Those remembering on these yortzites and those who are in mourning, please rise for the Kaddish Yatom, page 207. Together. Yit Gadal v'yit Gadash, Shemei Rabbah, Bialma divrach Hirutei v'yamlich Malchutei, B'chayechon v'yamechon, Uvchaye d'chol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala, Uvizman Kari v'imru, Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevarach le'elam l'mei al-maya. Yiparach v'yishtabach, v'yipa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal, Shemei d'kudusha b'richu, la'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush b'chata v'nechamata, dam yiran bi'alma v'imru, Amen. Yehei shlama rabbah min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, huya se shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, Amen. Please be seated. Announcements. Adria, Sut. Choose any of the mics. I guess three is the best.
Two.
We have 2, 4, 3.
Shabbat Sholom.
Much enough.
Thank you, Rabbi. The services both last night and tonight were beautiful.
Thank you.
And welcome, more Altshuler and your wonderful husband. We're glad to have you with us. And thank you, everyone, for attending. We have many, many visitors today, so we hope to meet you. There will be an ONEC following. We have an exciting week ahead and an exciting month of February. This is your last chance to order tickets for the Red Sox. The deadline will be February 10th. Stan Mitchell is organizing this activity. Please call the office and buy your tickets now. On February 22nd, we're going to be having a fabulous concert with our guest cantor and his friends. It'll be right here in the synagogue. You need to buy tickets for that, and it'll be wonderful. And then on March 8th, the members of Temple Beshalach and guests are going to be going to the opera. There will be a special wine and cheese for us before, so get your tickets then. We'd like to thank Sally and Joel Feder in memory of Sally's father, Abraham Cooperman, Joel's mother, and Selma Feder. These are for the Bima baskets. Jessica Green in memory of her parents, Sarah and Julius Green, on her father's yurt site. Martin Rich in honor of his birthday. Ellen Roche in honor of Marquise's 73rd birthday. Dennis Zimmerman in honor of his 78th birthday, and nobody knows your ages. A big mazel tov to Todd and Laura Haven. Lauren is our president. They are celebrating the birth of their first grandchild, Charlie Grace Weisenbach, the daughter of Brenna and Tom. The Saturday Kiddush is sponsored by the Freud Scholarship in Residence Fund. And on a personal note, I thank Dr. Freud. He has given so much to this synagogue. And I hope you're listening live stream, because we all thank you for what you've done. The lemon bars today are provided by Mira Atkins in honor of Valda Kay's birthday. Valda, happy birthday wherever you are. She's probably back in the kitchen. I just thank you all for coming. Please read your bulletin, which is right here. And for those of you online who do not have one of these, please go on our temple website where we do have a calendar. And if you have any other questions, please call our office. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. I just want to share something very cute. We had Don Friedman leading the morning service from the tribe of Dan. And then we had Joshua Melitz leading the Torah service. So we went from the tribes to Joshua to the land of Israel. And then we heard the song of Deborah, and we had Deborah Bortnick chanting the Musaf service. I don't know how we planned it that way, but okay. So anyway, my thank you, Adria Sukin. And please note class this week. On Tuesday, we're going to be continuing our session on thought. We're going to get into the Renaissance thought and how that affected the Jewish people. And then on Wednesday, we're going to go into Germany and Moses Mendelssohn and the beginning of emancipation and enlightenment in the West. So I hope you will join us at 10 o'clock on those 2 days. So on that note, Shabbat Shalom. Let's conclude, Deborah, with Adon Olam on page 211, followed by Kiddush.
Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Li'et Nasa V'chevtzo Kol Azay Melech Shemo Nikra V'yacharei Kichlot HaKol Levado Yimloch Nora V'hu Haya V'hu Hoveh Vehu yeh b'tifara Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Li'et Nasa V'chevtzo Kol Azay Melech Shemo Nikra Vehu Echad V'yein Sheni Lehamshel Lo Lehachbira B'li Reshit B'li Tachlit V'lo ha'oz v'ha'misra Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Li'et Nasa V'chevtzo Kol Azay Melech Shemo Nikra V'hu Eli V'chai Goali V'tzurchev li b'yetzara V'hu nisi Umanos li Menat kosi b'yom ekra Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Li'et Nasa V'chevtzo Kol Azay Melech Shemo Nikra B'yado Afkid Ruchi B'yeti Shan B'ayira V'im Ruchi Giviati Adonai li v'lo ira Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Li'et Nasa V'chevtzo Kol Azay Melech Shemo Nikra.
Shabbat Shalom, yeah. Please rise, everyone. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael Shabbat, la'asot et Shabbat l'doratam b'rit olam. V'eini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti li'olam, ki sheshet imam asa Adonai, et hashamayim v'et haaretz v'yom hashvi, Shabbat v'yinafash, al kein birachna in yom hashvat v'kachehu, Savri, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech borei pri hagafen. Sweet, l'chaim. B'shutchem, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech olam hamotzi lecha min haaretz. Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. Yair Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God bless you and keep you safe and secure, our children, our grandchildren. May God bring us nothing but joy, gladness, and love to lift us on the paths of Torah with all of Israel, and let us be blessed with shalom, with peace. Shabbat shalom, everyone. Deborah, you're going to have to daven every Beshalach, Shirad Hayam now.